Hey, you'll probably remember this. This is what Minneapolis leaders called a fiasco back in August. It was when hundreds of University of Minnesota students found themselves without a place to live at the beginning of the semester because the apartments they leased at a new building weren't ready. Well, that so-called fiasco is at the heart of a new ordinance signed into law today. And Carla joins us now with what this is going to do to prevent that from happening again. Right, Carla?
That's exactly true, Jana. I think a lot of people felt for those students displaced just as they were starting the semester. Turns out city leaders believe they were just the highest profile victims of a practice leaders wanted to end.
Call it a fiasco, an accident, a scheduling mishap. Here's the reality of what happened in August. More than 500 University of Minnesota students wanting to move into their apartments at Identity Dinkytown couldn't because the property was still under construction. That left those students without a place to live and still on the hook for rent. And that reality
Basically, you had a dynamic where students were paying for two places at once.
is what caught the attention and action of Minneapolis Council member Robin Wonsley.
Was this on your radar before this fiasco happened?
Absolutely not. I'm pretty sure this has been a long-standing practice, a predatory practice amongst the industry.
Wonsley said students and parents desperate for a home and response from the building's out-of-state property manager contacted her office. They quickly realized those tenants didn't have any city laws protecting them.
There was no standardized course of action in which students could really seek out in a formalized way or get out of their lease.
But beginning today, that's no longer the case. Under the Minneapolis law, renters who cannot move into their unit on the designated first day of their lease are now entitled to alternative housing of the same caliber or rent reimbursement until their unit is ready. Or renters can simply exit their lease with all of the fees and deposits refunded. And all of these protections, Wonsley says, didn't meet a lot of opposition.
Did you hear any kind of opposition along the lines of this poses an additional challenge to landlords?
It's well respected across, the public sector, the private sector. We all are, united in our desire to make sure this never happens again.
Preventing future so-called fiascos, Wonsley says, is just the beginning of what she and others plan to do to protect renters in Minneapolis.
This ordinance is just one of many steps that hopefully we can take together in putting an end to other predatory practices that renters and working class people experience in our housing market.
You may also remember that some students and their families filed a lawsuit against the property manager in that high-profile case. We reviewed the latest court documents in that case, and it was settled with both parties agreeing to dismiss the case. Again, Jana, this law is intended to prevent other people from going through this ordeal, or again, you could call it a fiasco.
Yeah, it's again one of those rules where you thought should have been a rule in the first place, but now making sure it's a rule.
Exactly.
Thanks so much, Carla. I appreciate it.